Big win for the Cleveland Browns this afternoon on their home soil, 27-0. They pounded the Arizona Cardinals in a game they really needed to get things right. And there's so much to feel good about coming out of this game. But in this particular little video, we're going to focus on probably the most frustrating news of the day. The injury report, and it does not appear to be good for Jedrick Wills, the team's starting left tackle. Anthony, we don't know for sure, right? I don't want to speculate. Kevin Stefanski said in the press conference that he did not have an official update and that they would get some imaging on Jedrick's leg tomorrow. But anybody that saw the play happen in real time, you saw the air cast on his leg as he was carted off the field, and he was standing, with that cast still on his leg post-game on some crutches, waiting for some help to leave the stadium. It doesn't look good. And so Cleveland is now faced with the probability that they're going to be without both starting tackles at least for a while. Now, how long, how bad is that injury? We'll find out. Let's cross our fingers that maybe it's not as bad as where your head might initially go. But the idea of Deshaun Watson being down Jack Conklin and Jedrick Wills and having a starting right tackle right now, DeJuan Jones, playing with an injured shoulder, that's not a great sign for Cleveland right now.
It doesn't make you feel good. And your heart breaks for Jed too, because it was like you felt that he was starting to turn the corner and starting to play much better. He's been obviously the topic of much conversation, throughout Browns media, because he's been very much so up and down, and really was drafted to be that bookend, that piece, that Joe Thomas piece on the left side, and just hasn't come around to it yet. And he was starting to make that turn. And your heart breaks for him, because you could see it in his eyes. He was crying, just really beat up on the cart leaving the field, and his heart breaks. But, it's that next man up thing. That's the part about football, is that when something like that does happen, you got to be able to step up and have some people come in behind it. And you think of James Hudson III. Feels like he's been a Brown for like ever. I just think back to some of the big blocks that he had. I think back to the COVID years when he was running in motion across the line of scrimmage and blowing guys up. Feels like he's been a Brown for a long time, and you feel comfortable with him stepping in. But we talk about depth and how important that is, and it's really going to be tested. You're going to have to dig deep, sign some guys that are unfamiliar to all of us, and find a way to just kind of patchwork this offensive line to get it to a point that this team can continue to make a playoff push. But it is unfortunate what happened today.
Well, here's the other part. You've got an offensive lineman in Nick Harris that's been playing fullback. So maybe you need to make a change there. Not that Nick Harris has done a poor job at fullback, but maybe it's time to put him back on the offensive line. And I'm sure that's going to be part of the conversation. Whether they ultimately do that or not, we'll find out. But I'm sure that's part of the natural thought process. And then obviously, the Browns also lost today Marquise Goodwin, who is in concussion protocol. We were not given a diagnosis, whether or not that was a confirmed concussion. Both in game, that no diagnosis came, and then I asked Coach Stefanski in the press conference if he had an update on Goodwin, and he said he's still in protocol. So, a wide receiver room that traded away Donovan Peoples-Jones and probably gave some additional opportunities to guys like Goodwin and Cedric Tillman. Goodwin gets hurt today. Tillman saw a lot of time on the field, only had one target and one catch on a little short screen pass. On one hand, if Goodwin can't continue to play, if he's dealing with a concussion, on one hand, you sit there and say, gee, that's not good because you don't want to hurt depth. But here we are 8 games into the season, and the only 2 receivers that have caught touchdown passes are Amari Cooper and I guess technically a tight end, David Njoku. None of the other receivers have caught a touchdown yet. So, you got to get David Bell healthy, right? He was not available today. The Browns are a little banged up right now. They're not as banged up as Arizona, who has more players on injured reserve than any other team in football. And they lost to a knee injury, Will Hernandez on the offensive line, and to an ankle injury, DJ Humphries on the offensive line. I think they're going to get Kyler Murray back next week because he's got to come off the PUP list. But, from Cleveland's perspective, it was a tough day to lose those 2 guys for sure.
Yeah, and if you feel for Marquise Goodwin too, because it just feels like he's so close, and he's been so close, and he's running around the field. He's wide open sometimes, and just can't seem to get him the football. You think back to even week 1 where he was running down the field and Deshaun missed him a little bit. Would have been a huge touchdown against Cincinnati. They just haven't been able to really mesh. And again, today, right decision. Coach Stefanski talked about it in the post game presser to kind of send one down the middle of the field. The defender made a really good play, and he took a big shot on it, unfortunately. And you hope that it's nothing too serious, but this wide receiver room is kind of concerning, if you will. Obviously, Amari Cooper, in my opinion, Amari Cooper is one of the, top 10 definitely receivers in all of the National Football League. He's so dependable. We saw today he's got speed. He can run past guys, and he catches everything. And that's one of your favorites. But then it's like after that, Elijah Moore is still a big question mark. He hasn't been able to get in sync with Deshaun Watson. David Bell and Cedric Tillman are your next guys up now. You really don't know what either of those guys are. So it's unfortunate, but Stefanski's been very good at kind of getting production out of whoever's on the field. Whatever 11 guys are healthy to get on the field, he finds ways to move the football and try to punch it in the end zone, and confident he'll continue to do that.
I would imagine that Kevin will give us the latest tomorrow when he normally does a Zoom call with the media on Mondays, and hopefully we'll have some injury updates to share with you tomorrow. In the meantime, for all the latest news and information on the team, you can subscribe to this YouTube channel or check us out over at BrownsDigest.com.